How's it going, everybody? It is Pilot Flame, and we're back with another FPL deadline stream live here on Twitch. And it's wildcard time. Game week 8. Rafinha's on the thumbnail. Will he play? Won't he play? I think personally he'll be on the bench. Maybe come on for 30 minutes. So yeah, we're gonna take a look at my wildcard. We're gonna see what decisions I've been making. I personally have 2 wildcards that I'm looking at, and I'm just not sure which one to go for at the moment. Yeah, I'll present both of those to you when the time comes. So yeah, without further ado, let's talk about Fantasy Football Scout. So if you haven't heard already, Fantasy Football Scout is a fantastic members tool which we will be using today and showing you a few of the tables that we use. We have access to all the different things over there, as well as much more. But the main thing is the stats tables, the Opta data driven stats tables, which we use on basically all our videos, and we use it for making informed decisions as well. So definitely going to be fantastic for this one. And you can use the link in the box section, or if you're watching this over on YouTube, link in the description, and you can get access to the members area today. So make sure to sign up for that. Now, without further ado, let's take a look at the teams so far. Oops. Hold on. I'll bring up the team. One moment. There we go. So that should be this window here. Yep, it is. Cool. Could Hudson-Odoi play instead of Reece James? Possibly. That's definitely possible. But I would say Reece James is more likely to play either right wing back or right center back, and Azpilicueta is definitely going to play. So since Reece James can play either or, depending on what Tuchel wants to do, I think he has more likely chance. Whereas Hudson-Odoi can play in the front 3, and that was the when he was picked last, he was playing in the front 3, which is interesting. Hey Snow, how's it going? Eyes got an itch to it. Do you dare Foden? The only reason I brought him in was because I knew that he was going to go up in price. So if I did want him, I would have him. So this team isn't the final team, but we'll get to that in just a second. Let me re-log back into Mobot. There we go. Right. So that should have fixed itself, I think. That's that. That is that. That's that. Cool. Alright, I think we're good. I have a benching headache. Play one of Sar, Benrahma, or Ivan Toney. Ooh. Probably Benrahma. Probably Benrahma. Although, it's pretty close between him and Toney, I would think. I want Jesus so bad, to be honest, but big, feels like a big risk. Jesus isn't going to play this week. That was confirmed, I believe. Yeah, Jesus won't play. Where's Man City? Nope, that's Man United. See? Red flag. International duty. Oh, long term? Yeah, sure. I mean, he's not bad, but again, always risk of rotation. That would be the main issue. Mopé's a 1-week punt, yep, versus Norwich. Not a bad idea. I considered it too. So let's take a look at the two wild cards that we have going here at the moment. I'm just gonna maneuver this across. I'm really messing around with Windows today. There we go. Currently 8th in the league. Not too bad, Snow. Not too bad. Thoughts on expensive keepers? I would have potentially gone with Ederson, but he's not going to play either, so I think Mendy is also a good shout potentially as well. So yeah, the two drafts that I have, one of them, basically they where's Trent? Because Trent's definitely in there. They all have the same base effectively. Also, Antonio going up last night was perfect for one of the drafts that I was considering as well. So we got Lukaku. Actually, I don't need St. Maximin in there yet. Rafinha. For me, not a chance. One 4.6 million and one 4.0 save the money. Sure, yeah, that's an option too. I mean, there's technically three options. You can have just set and forget 4.5. You can have rotating 4.5s, or you can have set and forget premium. And the only reason I'm going to 4.5s is because they rotate quite nicely, although that's never typically a good thing, because usually in the bigger fixtures they get more points, but it makes it so that I have the money come the bench boost, where I might not necessarily have to make two transfers to swap out the goalkeepers. I know I have at least one goalkeeper that's probably going to have a good fixture in that one. So that's why I'm going for it. Also, it's a backup in the event that one of them misses out for whatever reason. So, and I like the rest of my team elsewhere. So, do I captain Lukaku or Salah? Big decision, but me personally, Salah. We'll see that in the stats. Tried it last season and missed dodgy points in dodgy fixtures. Yeah, I mean that could happen. That could easily happen. Got 2 million in the bank and know what to do with it. Well, you don't have to necessarily spend that, to be honest. Save for a rainy day, if your team looks fine. Been waiting for this stream for my therapy. Been up all night. Yeah, I haven't had much sleep either, personally. But we should be okay. So yeah, so this is basically the skeleton of the team. So the players that are nailed on are these 11. So Ryan Ramsdale for me. I like the rotation between the two. Trent, Cancelo, Diaz nailed on. Rafinha, Mbeumo, Salah, Brownhill nailed on. Lukaku and Jimenez. Those are the nailed on players for sure. It's just the other four that might change. Do I take a -4 for Traore out for Mbeumo or Smith Rowe, or do I wait? No, you don't. You don't need to bring those guys in this week. Excuse me, not for a -4 at least. Mbeumo next week maybe versus Leicester, and then definitely for the next three after that, for sure. With 2 million in the bank, Foster, Ramsdale, that's fine. Duffy, Trent, Aspie, Diaz, Cancelo, that's fine. Salah, Brownhill, Mbeumo, Rafinha, Townsend, that's fine. Werner, Lukaku, and Hwang. I mean, there's nothing really wrong with that. I mean, Werner's probably a risk, but depends on how many transfers you have too. But I mean, you can go Townsend to an Arsenal mid, I guess. You can also go Townsend to, depending on how much money you have, maybe a City mid, possibly. But Sanchez and Ramsdale rotate Unreal to Gameweek 38. I don't think they do, actually. Where's goalkeepers? So when are Sanchez's bad fixtures? Sanchez's bad fixtures in 9, 10, 14, 18, 20, and 21. So 9, 10, 14, no, because they play Man United. 20 and 21, not really. So Sanchez plays Man City, or Ramsdale plays Man City. And Sanchez plays Everton. Sanchez plays Man City and Liverpool in the next 2. Then you got Leicester. Ramsdale is Liverpool in 12. Sanchez is Villa away. But like if you look at Raya as an example, when Raya plays Newcastle away, which is a really nice fixture, Ramsdale plays Liverpool. Werner to Kane, I wouldn't go anywhere near Kane, to be honest. I would not go anywhere near Kane, to be honest. Could go Werner to Vardy. Oh, on the wild card? Yeah, I mean, Vardy's definitely a differential. So, got a bunch of stuff on the old glasses here. There we go. Now we can see. Son out? Yeah, it seems that way. It seems that way. Love me a Vardy, very tempted. I mean, he always seems to find a way to score versus United, so I would definitely back that up. Vardy, every time he probably comes to Old Trafford, he's probably saying stuff like this.
I'm so happy, believe me. I'm so happy. Happy New Year.
He's very happy when he comes to Old Trafford. Yeah, Son, Rafinha, and Rudiger being out is a bit of a blow, I would say. So yeah, this is the skeleton of the draft. So basically, the 4 players that could potentially change. So we'll get you guys' opinions on this. So the 4 players that we're looking in question is, so it's Chilwell, Reece James, Smith Rowe, and St. Maximin. This is where that 0.1 came in if you watched my preview video. Or, which gives me 0.0 in the bank, basically. Or, Aspilicueta, Livramento, Saka, and Armstrong. 1 week punt for me for Rafinha. Yeah, Foden could be more than a 1 week punt, potentially. Could be a few weeks. That's the question. We don't know if Foden will play, though. That's the problem. He'll almost certainly play, but will he start is the question. So yeah, this is these are the players that I'm looking at. So you have one draft has Aspie, Armstrong, Saka, Livra versus Chilwell, James, Emil Smith Rowe, and St. Maximin. Those are the two sets that I'm looking at. So what we thinking? Put 1 for in the chat for the first one and 2 for the second one, whichever one you think is better. Both St. Maximin and Armstrong would in a couple weeks be changed to Tony anyway. Can I tell my wildcard team for help? Yeah, sure. You can put it in chat. So we got 1, 2, 1, 1. I think the first one is probably a bit more safe, a bit more solid. The second one is a lot more risky, but more exciting, potentially. So, definitely more exciting. Would you consider Tony and an Everton mid over Mbuemo and ASM? Well, we're gonna get Tony in on the double up in game week 10. Like if Ivan Tony's fit, he will be this forward slot. This forward slot here is going to be Tony in game week 10. So if Armstrong's banging, it's going to be very hard to get rid of him because then he has Watford, Aston Villa, and Norwich. Oh, I'm sorry. It's ESR. Emil Smith Rowe. I put an A for some reason. ASM is Alan St. Maximan. So it's Aspie, Armstrong, Saka, Livramento versus Chilwell, James, St. Maximan, and Smith Rowe. So this forward slot in game week 10, so we'd make no transfers next week. We would then get rid of this forward slot for Tony after 2 weeks. So Armstrong would be Leeds and Burnley, whereas St. Maximan would be, I think, Spurs and Palace. And if we actually take a look at the goals imminent table, both those players are on it. St. Maximan is here. Expected to have scored 1.13 goals. So he's on there. Adam Armstrong is on there as well. Then we got the likes of Antonio, Harvey Barnes, Benrahma, Bruno, Bowen, De Bruyne, Gallagher, Mason Greenwood, Kane, Pogba, St. Maximin, Saka, Jota, Tielemans, Trossard, Watkins, and Jesus. So the biggest proponent of on this table is Gallagher, Jota, Kane on there. What do I think of Leicester's upcoming fixtures? Not really interested because I think Leicester's been playing bad. But if they improve, then, you know, maybe. In both teams, we would be playing all three of our main defenders. We'd be playing our Chelsea defender. In this variation of the team, we would play Saka, Salah, Lukaku, Jimenez, Armstrong. And then just for this week, we'd probably play Livramento. Maybe we play Mbuemo. In the other team, we would play 5 at the back. We would play Salah. We would play Smith Rowe, and then we play our front 3. Both teams rotate nicer. The one with Aspie is much safer. I do agree. It is much safer. A lot more standard. The overall ownership, so Aspie's 7.7, Saka's 13, Livramento is 14, Armstrong is 3, whereas I think St. Maximin's like 18, Smith Rowe's lower than that. So Smith Rowe is 6%. So Smith Rowe is basically the same ish as Aspie. But James and Chilwell are like ridiculously low owned. So on the double on them could be ridiculous. Triple Arsenal is a funny way to go. I don't have triple Arsenal. I have just 2. One in goal, which sometimes plays, and then Saka or Smith Rowe. I'd go for James, but no balls. I mean, I could be going for James and Chilwell. The only thing that I have an issue with is that if I go for this variation. I can also do a hybrid of the two if I wanted to. So, if I still wanted Tony, I could go Armstrong, I could go James, I can go Aspie, and I can go Smith Rowe, and then I still have enough money to go to Tony if I want to. That's the other thing. I could do this, which is like a hybrid of the two. So less risky on the, wingback part, but it means I have, it means I have exact money to go to Tony in 2 weeks, but if anything changes, then I'm screwed. Whereas the other one allows me to get to Tony no matter what. Or both of them allow me to get to Tony no matter what. So. Yeah, if Tony rises on this variation, it doesn't work. I mean, Christensen's also an option too. Like, Christensen would also be safe instead of like Chilwell. Oh, no. But for whatever reason, I just think that Newcastle are going to just do well for the next couple of weeks until Bruce gets sacked, basically. I just have a funny feeling that they're just going to play well this week. And Spurs, if we look at who to captain against, over the last 4 game weeks, it's been undoubtedly Norwich here, for sure. But second, Spurs. Tied third on big chances conceded, second most for XG conceded, goals conceded. They are top. They've had no clean sheets. Their defense is awful. And it's not like they're going to have any attackers because Son's not going to be playing most likely by the looks of it, and Kane's awful. So, I say why not? But, if we're comparing Armstrong as well, Leeds are right there as well. 7.61, but they've only conceded 6 goals, which is interesting for Leeds. Which, is way less than what Spurs have conceded. So some might say the Spurs are unlucky. I just think Spurs just are bad defensively. So that's kind of how I see it, to be honest. And then we have Palace, who's very good defensively. And then who is Armstrong's other fixture? Be Burnley. Burnley's about mid-table. So Palace is slightly better defensively. So again, it's just those two. It would just be for those 2 fixtures. But I mean, St. Maximin is still, he's higher owned than Armstrong is, but that's because he's done well this season. Ramsdale, Trent, Cancelo, Diaz, Duffy, Salah, Foden, Saka, Lukaku, Antonio, Tony, Foster, Livermento, and Bueno Brown, who also have 0.8 million in the bank. I have no issues with that wildcard whatsoever, if it is a wildcard or a team. No issues whatsoever. And then if you want to just have the Foden 1 week punt or whatever, you can always get Rafinha back in, which is fine. Yeah, I think that's fine. Perfectly fine. Just when you want to get Rafinha back in, you just have to you'll have to sacrifice either Foden or Saka or something like that. That's it. So yeah. You could also technically, if you wanted to, Mono, you can go for Armstrong if you're definitely going to play him, just because he plays Burnley and he plays Leeds at home. just for 2 weeks if you wanted to, and then go for Tony after the fact. Are city mids worth it? To be honest, you know what city mids are? The definition of insanity. Let me bring up insanity definition. So you should be able to see that. You can't really see it, but basically, the definition of insanity is continuing to do the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, basically. So everyone knows what's going to happen in Pep Roulette. You're going to have a player, he's going to bang once in 4 for like a double-digit hole. He's then going to get 2 benchings and then not get any points in the 4th game, something like that. It's just a matter of, can you get that one big hit on the City midfielder? Another thing is that City could also... Excuse me. City could also bang 5 goals versus Burnley today or whenever they play. Right? And your player might not even get a goal or an assist because the goals are so spread out, right? So, like, yeah, I mean, that could definitely happen. That could easily happen. Hold Antonio, get Jimenez. I think if you don't have anything else better to do, I would hold Antonio. But if you're on a wild card, I would say you can either hold or you can sell. For me personally, I just don't like the fixtures, and I don't like West Ham's form going into how they went into the international break, basically. That's just me. Could Antonio burn me? Of course he could. It's easy. But you can't have them all, right? Ronaldo's still highly owned. Where's Ronaldo? Where's good old Ronnie? No, he's still 44.1% owned. Ronaldo could score a hat-trick today versus Leicester. We just have to hope that Salah does the same. Because he'll be my captain. Almost certainly. Salah still is the captain, just in case. I like Duffy and Livramento as backup or even cover. Yep. They look fine. Duffy, potential risk longer term, but Livramento is fine. And Livramento's fixtures are quite good. And you can even play him this week too. How do you rate the Everton trio of mids? Personally, I think Everton's been a bit overblown as to how they've been playing. If we look at, I'll just say Gray as an example. Look who they played. They played Southampton, who captain against our 5th worst. Leeds, 3rd worst. Brighton. Okay, Brighton's really good. Who they beat. Burnley. Burnley have been pretty bad this season. But they are mid-table. Villa. Villa is in the top half. Norwich, they're the worst. And then United, United's stats are okay defensively, but not great. They haven't played anyone realistically that is solid defensively, like a Chelsea, like a Man City, like Brentford has been. So for me, I personally don't think they're really worth it. I think if you have them, I would say hold them, and if you're not on a wild card, because they have Watford and Wolves next. And then they have Spurs afterwards, which could be quite good. But after the international break, definitely I would say they'd be out the door for me. I think I've landed on Foster, Ramsdale, Duffy, TA, Cancelo, Diaz, Aspie, Brownhill, Salah, Embuemo, Townsend, Rafinha, Lukaku, Hwang, and Werner. Hey, got a couple differentials in there. Like them. Werner's always going to be a risk. Hwang could be a risk. But you have solid cover with Embuemo and Townsend, so I think you're fine. Then you also have 2 million in the bank. If Hwang doesn't work out for a couple of weeks, then you can always get Tony or whoever. Any advice for when you are fed up with your team but too proud to just let your team fall apart? I would say you just have to take it. You just have to follow a plan. Basically, that's something that I've tried to do for anything really. Keep a structure and know why you did things in the first place. So, as an example, let's say I bring in Chilwell and James, and both of them don't start when they play Brentford today. I just have to say, well, the reason I got them in is because they are the more risky picks, but they have the bigger upside. And if they do play, they could be very explosive. I'm only going to have them for 4 weeks anyway, and then one of them is going to go for whoever else. My transfer in 12 will probably almost certainly be like Lukaku and one of my Chelsea defenders out for a cheaper defender and Ronaldo as an example, right? You gotta know what the plan is. Now, obviously, injuries and stuff can come into that, but you have to realize that that's something that you can account for. Account for what you know now, and plan ahead accordingly. But if there are injuries, then you have to take hits for that, and that's just kind of the way the game goes. Sometimes there'll be seasons where you have to take a lot of hits for injuries, but sometimes you have to look at your team and say, well, let's say I run this team out there. And Saint Maximin gets injured hypothetically. Knock on wood that he doesn't if I do pick him, because I think he's great and he's fun to watch. But he has been injury prone in the past, so that is a possibility. You have to say, well, do I move that Tony transfer forward, or do I just bench him and play somebody else? Rafinha will be back next week, so he may take his place. Embuemo plays Leicester, so I could play him over him as well. Do I have any other fires to put out? No, I don't? Okay, then maybe I can make the transfer early. That's what you have to kind of think about it. So, I'm going into next week with this team or the other team, knowing that I don't have to make any transfers, assuming nothing happens for that. So that's kind of how I see it. You pick the players based on whether it be feeling or stats or form or fixtures. Me personally, I'm like a fixtures / how well they're playing. So at the moment, Jimenez has decent fixtures and he's been on form as of recently. Same with Rafinha. Same with Salah. Lukaku, it's strictly fixtures. City, it's strictly been because they're keeping clean sheets. Trent is form because his fixtures are on and off. That's kind of how it works. But blindly holding somebody can be the downfall of a team. So, as an example, I'm a United fan. I would love to keep Ronaldo for 38 weeks straight, but I know that United haven't played well at all this season. The only half of football that United have played well this season, genuinely, where they moved the ball quickly, they looked like they were threatening a little bit, just the final ball just wasn't there, was the first half of Everton. And that's Ronaldo, Pogba, and Sancho weren't even on the pitch. So that's kind of how you have to look at things. You have to take football biases aside and just look at, hey, look, this player has really good fixtures. He could do well. As an example, am I going to bench Mo Salah versus United when he comes to Old Trafford? No. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Because I know that Salah, I saw him rip up City's defense. City's defense is better than United's. I know that Salah could score. He's going to be on my team. He's going to be playing against my team. I'm going to root against him. Don't care. He's going to be in my FPL team, though. Because in the event that he finally gets it right and he knows how to beat Luke Shaw, which he hasn't done as of yet, when they played against each other, I'm going to be there for when his points come in. You just don't bench those sorts of players. If Lukaku today goes in blanks versus Brentford, am I going to get rid of him? No, because he plays Norwich, Newcastle, and Burnley. As long as he's fit, he's in. Now, earmarked him to get rid of him in Gameweek 12, sure. but that's also, excuse me, subject to change because of how if United picks up, because United's fixtures start to get better after their run that they have now. So if United's doing well, Ronaldo's scoring and Lukaku isn't, then yeah, game week 12, Ronaldo plays Watford. There's a 3-game spell where both teams play Watford away. Lukaku plays Leicester, and United play Arsenal, and then they play each other. So is that better for Ronaldo? Or is it better for Lukaku? It's very close, but could be better for Ronaldo. Because Ronaldo likes scoring versus Arsenal anyway. So that's how I would kind of see it. Should I go Saka to Smith Rowe and Tony to Jimenez, or just do Tony to Armstrong as you said earlier? I think Armstrong is a good 2-weeker. If he does well, then you're going to gain some value on him really quickly, especially if he does well this week, which he is playing versus Leeds, who have injuries all over the shop. And he likes to shoot, so could do well. I think it's kind of close. But I also think Saka's very good as well. I would if I had to choose between the two Arsenal players, I'd rather have Saka because I think he's more reliable in terms of FPL points probably, as well as minutes. So, but Arteta likes both of them. So I think Odegaard's usually the one that gets hooked first, if anything. If they play all three of them. Who would I replace Townsend in the upcoming weeks? Werner easily could become DCL or Bamford. When one of them is fit. Yeah, so basically you would go to you could go to a mid-price mid like a Jota if he is playing well, a City mid if you want to go that route. You can go Mason Mount for a few now that he's back, because I think he makes the team play a lot better. You can even go one of the cheaper guys, again, like an Mbeumo, like a Saka, like a Rafinha. These sorts of players could be quite good. You could potentially go up a little bit higher when Rashford's back. Maybe he's an option. Go and get in him as one of your 3 United players for their really good run. That could be an option too, because Rashford's not going to get dropped. The United lineup every week, game in, game out, will guaranteed, assuming they're fit and available, will have De Gea in it, it will have Wan-Bissaka in it, it will have Shaw in it, it will have Maguire in it, it will have Varane in it. That's guaranteed, nailed on. In midfield, that could be anyone. In the forward line, Ronaldo will play. I don't know why Solskjaer benched him, but Ronaldo will definitely play. Rashford would definitely play. Bruno would definitely play. So it's the 2 midfield slots and then the right wing slot. That is up for debate. So you can go there too. So yeah. Maybe Gallagher or Smith Rowe. I think Gallagher's kind of diminishing a little bit, personally. Could Pukki be decent form for game week 10? Norwich have only scored 2 goals this season. I wouldn't go near him, to be honest. The deadline will feel so good. Yeah, once they have the team locked in, which in about 9 minutes or so, we're going to be making the final decision and getting things set up. When should I sell Townsend? So, I would say if you have Townsend right now, you could arguably keep him up until the next international break, basically. So you could sell him before Man City, because they play City, whose defense is really good, away. Brentford's defense has been decent. Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea in 5 games, with only just the 1 decent game in Crystal Palace. So if you have him now, I say you could potentially keep him. See how he does versus West Ham and Watford, and then go from there. Because if all of a sudden Everton are just crap for whatever reason, then you can take him out in game week 10 maybe. But I would say if you have him right now, you have no other fires to put on, I think he's fine. You can play him, but 12. Apologies for the yawning. Game week 12 would probably be my thing. I like your call. So now a little switch, as also said, Armstrong or Huang. Yeah, Armstrong, you know, is going to play. Huang might not. What Huang's form suggests that he should be playing. Thanks. No problem. We try to help. We try to help. Now, let me look at let me check out Twitter, see if there's any news. Let's see. Apparently there's going to be some team news coming for Liverpool potentially, but that would just be whether Jota's going to start or not. But me personally, I have no interest in Diogo Jota. That's just me. Yeah, that's just me. Personally. All I see on Twitter is Mahrez, Foden, and Grealish. Yeah, pretty much. Jota will be good when the fixtures are good. Exactly. I think that Firmino is going to be... Excuse me. Is going to be used in the big games. He really likes Firmino in the big games. So if that was the case, that would mean that Firmino would probably see like 60 minutes in the midweek game. Jota will come on as a sub, and then Firmino will start versus United, which would probably mean that Jota starts today. If I had to guess, he could play all four of them. That's another thing too. Liverpool's are missing so many midfielders this week they could go with the front four. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But they could just play Henderson in the 6 if they wanted to. They could easily do that. They could play Henderson in the 6 with Keita and like maybe like an Oxlade-Chamberlain or something like that, and play a front 3 of whoever. And that would probably be fine for them. But we shall see. If I had to put my money on it, I would say that probably Jota starts today. It's either Jota starts or they play a front 4. So either they both start or just Jota starts. That's kind of how I see it. Since Foden played against Liverpool, I said he would be my team. Now I don't dare. Yeah, I mean it's city midfielders. The only person you can guarantee starting is probably Ederson, and even this week you can't because he's not going to play. I think Foden will play Champions League and rotate it in the Prem. I mean, yeah, Pep will do what Pep wants to do. Ferran Torres played 3 games in a row. In the 3rd game, he scored 2 goals and got an assist. He then lit it up for Spain and then hasn't played in the Premier League since. And then got injured, basically. Ederson, Diaz, and Rodri are most nailed. I wouldn't even say Rodri's nailed. But, I mean, Rodri's not really an FPL asset. But I would say Ederson and Diaz are probably the most nailed. With De Bruyne, I would say. Everyone else is just... put your name in a hat and see who comes out, basically. Livermento or Duffy this week? Duffy. They play Norwich. And if he doesn't play, he's most likely to not get subbed on because he's a center back. That's how I see it. Grealish and Jesus are maybe most nailed of the attackers, but once they miss one game, they miss many. Exactly. I think Grealish is a safe bet. The only issue with Grealish is that he doesn't necessarily um get as many FPL points as you would like. Whereas I think Foden could break that mold because of his flexibility, which allows him to pick up positions where he gets in the box late and then can score goals. If Grealish stayed at Villa, he'd be so nice for FPL. Yeah, he would, but I think he's still decent for City as well. He's one of the very few players where I'm like, he might actually just be nailed at City. Which is weird to kind of say. If I had to predict City's 11 today, it would probably be Stefan in goal because Edison isn't going to play. Cancelo and Walker at fullback. Laporte and Diaz. Rodri. I think Gundogan comes back in. De Bruyne. I think Sterling, for some funny reason, plays false 9. Grealish on the left and Mars on the right, which would mean Foden would drop to the bench. I just think that's how it would go. Best 4.0 keeper, don't want to lose value. Probably Foster. Either go Foster because everyone's going to have him and no one's going to get rid of him, or just go for somebody that has really low ownership, like a Begovic or somebody like that. So yeah, but Foster probably, because he might play some game weeks. So yeah, right. Time to make some decisions. A red keeper, does that mean that they can't lose his value? No, a keeper that's like very low owned. So like as an I'll show you an example. So like Begovic as an example, he's only 3.5% owned and he stayed around that price the whole time. Nobody's going to get rid of him, basically. So he's just going to be nailed on. When Pickford doesn't play, he will play. Foster, a lot of people have him just because it's Ben Foster in it. He might even go up in price, to be honest, because Ben Foster has been playing the last few games. So, but we'll see. I wouldn't bank on Foster playing. Mane or Foden for fan team. I went Mane as I felt long term. I don't know much about fan team, but I think Mane is pretty good in it from what I know. Yeah, gotta go with the cycling GK, I would say. Right, time to make the decision. Do I go for Aspie, Livramento, Saka, and Armstrong? Or do I go for St. Maximin, James, Chilwell, and Smith Rowe? That is the question. So we got Aspie, Livramento, Emil Smith Rowe, St. Max versus James, Chilwell, oh, I'm sorry. It's not that. That's wrong. So it would be Aspie, Livra, Saka, St. Max versus Chilwell, James, Emil Smith Rowe. Wait, no. I'm all over the shop. What am I talking about? I'm talking nonsense. So, it's Aspie, Livermento, Saka, and Armstrong versus Chilwell, Reece James, Emil Smith Rowe, and Saint Maximin. Those are the two that I have to contend with. Personally, I like this one better. The one that we have up on screen, which is the number 2. It's a bit riskier, but we do have cover. Because we're going to play all 5 defenders every week, and it's only going to be for these 4 weeks with Chelsea. I think Chilwell's done enough to come back in over Alonso, because Alonso is dreadful in my eyes as just a player, because he can't defend. Don't like ESR and Saint Maximin. I think ESR is fine, but again, we don't have to necessarily play these guys week in, week out. So Smith Rowe is going to be a bench option most weeks. That's another thing we have to remember. Smith Rowe is going to be our midfield version of Livermento, basically. Chilwell and James greater than Aspie and Livermento. I think the upside is definitely better, for sure. But it also means that we use all of our money in the bank, which means we can downgrade, say, Maximin significantly to somebody if we want to. I think this is the one I'm going to go for. So Raya, Ramsdale, Chilwell, James, Aspie, Cancelo, Diaz, Smith Rowe, Rafinha, Mbeumo, Salah, Brownhill. With that team, you would have at least 4 defenders every week. Exactly. I'd be playing all 5. Pretty much. And I worked out the mapping as well, and it works out quite nicely. So yeah, this is the one I'm gonna go for. Let's do it. Right. Still got a few minutes. Can see one of either Chelsea or Man City benched most weeks. No, we can play them all. We can play them all. Why not? Let's see. So, Rafinha will have on the bench. Then we want Cancelo. No. How do we want this? So we want our right back to be Reece James. We then want Chilwell. We then want Trent. We then want Diaz. We then want Cancelo. There we go. That looks better. I'll probably put Mbeumo first sub though. And we'll have Ramsdale in goal. That's how we'll go for it. Oh, but rotated. Yeah, I mean, that's possible. But that's why we have guys on the bench. You know, Brownhill is a safety, 2 points. Rafinha is going to play every game when he's fit. And Mbeumo is going to play every game when he's fit. But the nice thing is that if 1 or 2 of the defenders get rotated, whether it be Chilwell or Cancelo or Diaz or James or whatever, the likelihood that 3 out of my 5 defenders get rotated. I mean, Trent and Diaz won't get rotated. It's the other 3 that I'd be worried about. Um, that would be my concern. But we have coverage in a sense for at least 2 of them. But if you get 3 defenders that don't play, when you can arguably say that James is the best right back they have at the club, Chilwell is the best left back they have at the club, Cancelo is the best full back they have at the club, Diaz is their best center back, and Trent's Trent. If I get 3 defenders rotated in 1 week, it's gonna suck, but is what it is. That's why we have Mbeumo and Rafinha and Brownhill. That's why our bench covers us for potential rotations. James will get subbed in for 1 point as well, potentially. That is a possibility. But that's the risk that we take. That's the risky part of the team, James and Chilwell. But the upside could be massive. Say Maximin is a 2-week punt alongside Armstrong. We'll see how that decision goes. That's a 50-50, basically. Because I wouldn't play Tony in the next 2 games, but I'm definitely going to have him in game week 10. So that's kind of what we're going with. Next week, we would just put Rafinha in for Smith Rowe, basically. And then we'd run the same team back. So let me see if there's any potential Liverpool news. So I think we're all good to go. Salah captain, Lukaku it's the vice. Mbeumo first sub. Yeah, I think we're solid. I'm also going to take a screenshot of this as well while I can. There we go. And that should be the FPL deadline, I think. And it is. There we go. Ramsdale, TA, Duffy, Diaz, Cancelo, Aspie, Salah captain, Townsend, Hwang. I like it. So you've gone with a couple of risks like myself. Again, very, very good. I like having a couple of risks. And that's what we're going for. Something a little bit different to shake things up. I don't want to go 3-4-3 every week. I want to go something a little different, which is what we've gone with. Late Risers posted his team. He's got Ramsdale, Trent, Cancelo, Reece, and Duffy, Salah, Foden, Mbeumo, Lukaku, Timo Werner, and Mopé with Foster, Livramento, Rafinha, and Brownhill. So yeah. Pub in 1 hour, 3 nice games to watch today. I think Brentford can do damage today. We shall see. We shall definitely see. But we shall see. Let's see. Someone else has put a Tom Stevenson wildcard. He's gone 5 at the back as well. He's gone Trent, Diaz, Duffy, Cancelo, Reece James, Salah, Foden, Lukaku, Antonio, and Armstrong with Foster, Mbeumo, Rafinha, and Brownhill. Again, very similar-ish to our team. Except instead of Duffy and Foden, we have a cheap midfielder and a more expensive defender. And then Zofar from the FPL Wire went for Ramsdale, Cancelo, Diaz, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Reece James, and Mbeumo, Foden, Salah captain, Lukaku vice captain, Antonio, Armstrong with Livramento, Rafinha, and Brownhill on the bench. So yeah, looks to be quite good. I think Werner could do well. I really like Werner as a player. Personally. I really do. But yeah. Just need him to get out of the way so that Lukaku can start scoring. But I think Chelsea's best front 3 is probably Havertz and Mount in their front 3 with Lukaku. But I think Werner is still very good. And I think he can play versus the teams where he needs to break. I think he'll be good versus Brentford today. Like, I would like to see Werner and Mount play today. Just because that's kind of, I think that they'll do well versus Brentford. Because Brentford would like to attack, so... He's been very good lately, and they do play well off each other. You are right. It's kind of the similar dynamic to Lautaro Martinez and Lukaku at Inter. So, but yeah, before we sign off, let's talk about Fantasy Football Scout just one more time. So, if you haven't heard, Fantasy Football Scout is a fantastic tool that we used, as you saw, throughout the stream here, where we looked at different tables and whatnot. We didn't get to take a look at the captaincy, but basically Salah was way out in front, but you probably already knew that. Yeah, it's fantastic. Use the about section or link down in the description below so that you can get access to the Fantasy Football Scout members area. They often have a preseason sign up as well, so you can always cancel your subscription at the end of the season and then reactivate it during the preseason when you get a little bit of a discount, which is great. So yeah, make sure to do that. And it also helps out us, and it's going to help out you. It's going to help elevate your FPL game. Now, to the big screen. Not often I have two strikers from the same team in my team. Yeah, it's going to be different. It's going to be different. It could pay off, and definitely over the next 4 game weeks, it's definitely a trial worth going for, I think. Same with me for the 2 defenders. But yeah, that is going to do it for this FPL deadline stream. Hope you all enjoyed it. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow, share, all that good stuff. I've got my wild card in. It's locked in. Nothing I can do about it now. Think the decisions are good. If players get rotated, remember, you go on informed decisions. If they don't play or whatever, that's going to happen. It's going to happen. If you don't have a good game week this week, don't worry. There's always next week. Look to reform. Look to make informed decisions. If the result's not right, but you made a good decision, that's the only thing that you can control. But until the next one, take care.